What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rutgers Rundown podcast. I'm your host, Nick Hart, alongside my co-host, Matt Mangam. Episode number 20 for you guys here today. A lot to talk about. Rutgers men's basketball in full swing. Rutgers football coming towards the end of the season. A couple games left. And, of course, Rutgers women's basketball starting out their season as well. Matt, what do we want to start with? We want to go basketball? We want to go football? What's the vibe here?
I feel like we should do football just because that happened on Saturday. Just get that started with. Big win over Maryland. It's exactly what you wanted from Rutgers. I mean, Nick, you and I watched the game. Antwan Raymond, just 41 carries, tying a program record, 240 rushing yards, the third most in program history, most since Ray Rice, and then gets exactly 1,000 rushing yards on the season now, ninth in program history, ninth player to do that in program history. And it was that common I was watching on Saturday.
I'll tell you
Fantastic
what.
game.
Antwan Raymond has had himself an electric season, right? It was. I don't even know if I want to say it was unknown, but there was some questions of what that running back room was going to look like coming into this year. You didn't know,
Hmm.
was C.J. Campbell going to be the guy? Was Sam Brown going to be the guy? Was Deshaun Benjamin going to be the guy? Was Antwan Raymond going to be the guy? I'll tell you what. Antwan Raymond is the guy. They went to him. What was it 42 times? Right, 42 times, tying the program record, I think, or 41 times.
41
Excuse me.
carries. Yeah, yeah.
41 carries, 240 yards. Broke Kyle Monungai's single game record for most amount of yards in a conference game. Is 1,000-yard rusher now. Um, awesome. Just overall an awesome game. Ethan Kaliakmanis furthering his Rutgers lore, if you will. Becomes the first back-to-back 2,500-yard passer for the Scarlet Knights since Mike Teal did so back in, I think, 2006 and 7. Um, this
Hmm.
this offense is so good. It's so good. And you look at guys like Ian Strong, 3 touchdown catches, 5 catches, 88 yards. KJ Duff, 2 catches, 69 yards. DT Sheffield, 4 catches, 50. The offense is so good, Matt. It's so good. I love watching them. Two things. They're inconsistent, and the defense is going to lose them games. I mean, I'm shocked that Rutgers finally held a Big Ten opponent under, what was it? Or this is the best defensive performance they've had in conference play. Least
Yeah.
amount of points given up, but still you see so many negatives when it comes to the defense. Number one thing being quarterback containment. Malik Washington ran all over the Scarlet Knights. 8 rushes, 164 yards, and probably could have went for more.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely wasn't, the best defensive performance we saw from the get-go. The Washington rushing touchdown, you're like kind of like, oh crap, not this again. But Rutgers, got back into it. I will say though, in the second half, held Maryland to just 3 points. Very, very solid right there. And another second half where Rutgers offense does score some points. We saw that against Purdue too. After pretty much every other game this season, they, done nothing in the second half offensively, besides maybe the Miami, Ohio, and Norfolk State games. Uh, so it was a sloppy start. I think defense still didn't have obviously a great day. There's not one game this season where I've said the defense has been solid. I mean, that's clear, but better second half. Going into the bye week, this is exactly what you want. It wasn't, even though, like I said, there were some, it wasn't perfect. It still was a pretty solid, I'd say, comfortable victory after the second half, where Rutgers really shut down the Terps and was able to get some run away with the game a little bit with the two back-to-back touchdowns. Well, actually, they scored 21 points in the second half, so, second quarter. So it was really kind of like, you know, they already were running away with it. But going into the bye week now with this good win, it's important because it's we know what Rutgers is, 5-5. You got 2 games left, Ohio State and Penn State, two completely different games on paper. One game is, you never want to say it, but it is a guaranteed loss pretty much because Ohio State's number one in the country. They have been fantastic. And then Penn State, who just lost a heartbreaking fashion to Indiana, has two more winnable games on its docket, you could say, with Michigan State and Nebraska. And then if all things go correctly with that way, both teams will be at 5 wins on November 29th in Piscataway. So it sets up a really interesting senior day for both teams, actually.
Matt, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. I said
Yeah,
this is a spot that very well could be both teams come in with 5 wins and the winner goes to a bowl, right? Rutgers coming off the win against Maryland. They have the bye week. Great. You're going to Columbus. It's not going to be close. Let's be honest. Rutgers is
hmm
lucky if they put up points in that game. I think
yeah.
Ohio State has one of the best defenses in the country. Obviously, Julian saying one of the Heisman favorites this year. Um, I don't see a world in which that game's anywhere close. And then, like you said, Penn State. Penn State might be one of the how do I word this? Penn State might be the best team in college football with no conference wins. Honestly,
They're
because
playing better than the record shows. That's what you're saying.
you look at your
Yeah.
games, right? Loss against Oregon, 30-24 in overtime. Okay. Not not a bad loss. You lose to UCLA, that's a bad loss.
Hey, Northwestern.
Excuse me. You lose by one to Northwestern, heartbreaker. Not a terrible loss. Northwestern's played well. It was another 1 point game to Iowa. You not exactly close against Ohio State, but it was for a little bit. And then you win or you lose a 1 score game against the number 2 team in the country. I I don't want to sound like a pessimist here. I don't think it's a winnable game for the Scarlet Knights. This Penn State team is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. Granted, James
Yeah, I
Franklin's
agree.
gone. Drew Aller is not playing. This team is still a good football team. They're still a good defensive team. Their skill positions are still skilled. Um, I don't think this is a close game, and I hate to say it because it kind of brings a new life to the Rutgers Penn State rivalry, if you will. Um, I don't think it's close, honestly. Like if you had to ask me today what I thought the spread was in this game, I would say it's probably anywhere from 14 to 16 and a half in favor of Penn State. I don't see a world in which Rutgers wins that football game.
Yeah, I think it's how do I say this too? I think the fact that they probably will enter that game with 5 wins, and you're thinking, oh, when you compare this to the records, oh, Penn State's had a bad year. Rutgers, same boat as Penn State. Maybe Rutgers could sneak out a win. I
But
still think
look at who Penn State's played.
exactly they've played better opponents. Like if you put Rutgers in those games, they wouldn't be as close. I mean, they look at Oregon, they got killed. Rutgers is gonna get killed by Ohio State probably, and then if they played Indiana, they'll get killed. And then, even games like against UCLA and Northwestern, seeing how Rutgers played against Minnesota and, who else? Just Iowa, I guess you could say too, like didn't play good in those games or Washington. So I think obviously the possibility or the chance to get a bowl win against your rivals is right there, but it's Penn State is still Penn State. Yeah, they're not ranked. Yeah, they don't have Drew Allen. Yeah, they don't have James Franklin, but it's still a good team. Look how close they've played. Like you said, they've played these other teams very closely, and yeah, they've been on the losing end, but they've still been very competitive. And I just I don't think the Rutgers defense will do enough, and I think it's completely fair to say because the Rutgers defense hasn't played a perfect game this season yet.
Oh,
And will it happen in the next 2 games? I don't think it will.
perfect, Matt.
So,
They haven't even played a serviceable game all year. And
yeah.
you look at the conference games, and what does Rutgers not do? They don't win close games. Iowa, close game, didn't win. Minnesota, close game, didn't win. Washington was a close game and a half, didn't win. Okay, Oregon, what have you. Purdue is the only close one you've won, and they stink. They stink. No other way to put it. You get blown out by Illinois, and then you beat the brakes off of Maryland. Um, I don't know. I hate to be a pessimist because you got to be positive about teams that you
Oh
cover and
yeah.
teams that you follow. But I, I don't see a world, Matt. I don't know. Call me crazy, but the people that are sitting here saying, "Oh, Rutgers is gonna hang up, X amount of points on Penn State. They're gonna beat them." There, blah blah blah. Rutgers has not beaten Penn State in the last, I don't even know, millennium.
Since like what
How
I thought it was like the 80s, right? Or 70s last time they beat Penn
I'll look it
State.
up, but they've not beat them since joining the Big Ten. I don't believe.
No, no.
There's no way. I don't see it. And you know what sucks about this whole thing, Matt? This is the most beatable Penn State has been since Rutgers has joined the Big Ten.
Most beatable Penn State's been, but look at Rutgers, like the position they're in. Like, yeah, maybe I think. if you had Rutgers with the with the good defense, yeah, maybe there's a slight chance. But the fact that the defense is playing like this, I think the offense can make it. The offense can score some points, but Penn State's gonna get that. They're still better.
All right, Matt, I have the answer to our question.
Probably in the 1980s, I think, if I remember around there.
If you had to guess, what is the all-time series between Rutgers and Penn State dating back to 1989?
Rutgers has won twice, if I'm correct.
32 and 2 Penn State is.
I would have said like 25, 25 too. So yeah, that's pretty good. I know Rutgers won like in the 80s. I think they won like in like the 40s, something like that. I don't know.
So
Embarrassing.
here's the two times that Rutgers has won. This is, let's see, September 24th, 1988. 1988.
Yeah.
You weren't alive. I wasn't
You might.
alive.
No, you might
And
have been.
and guess who the president of the United States was at that time?
Was it Reagan?
Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. But the
Yeah.
last time that the Scarlet Knights beat Penn State. Could you tell me, Matt, the other time that Rutgers defeated Penn State?
So we were talking about this in the press conference before Shiano came in. I remember it wasn't like during like the 30s or something like that. If I'm correct, the 30s or the 40s.
If this website is correct, it would be September 11th, 1918,
Oh, 18. Oh my God.
in which Woodrow Wilson would have been president of the United States.
Why did I think it was the 40s? 1918?
This is according to this website. I'm gonna double check just to make sure, but if history tells us anything, Matt, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that is not good. That's what I'm saying. So I know you're checking, but I want to ask you a question because you are going out to Columbus for the game on the 22nd. Um, we know how that game is gonna go.
Just not to cut you
We
off, but that is correct. This is on USA Today. The series dates back to November 9th, 1918, 2 days before the armistice ending World War One. The Nittany Lions have a 31 and 2 record against Rutgers. Penn State lost just once since the series opening game in 1918. World War One, Matt. World War One. They didn't even call it World War One back
Yeah.
then. It was the Great War.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I, I mean that basically proves the point that Rutgers has like no chance. But so you're going out to Columbus for that game on the 22nd. What do you want to see from Rutgers in that game? What could happen where you're like, okay, not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and come home from Columbus just a little bit happier.
If Rutgers loses by less than 3 scores, ah, yeah, I'll say less than 3. If they lose like by 14 to 17, it is what it is. Anything other than that, it's going to be embarrassing. If it's like Oregon, it's going to be embarrassing. Just come out of the game injury free. You got to be, all hands on deck for Penn State. I don't expect much from that game though, and I don't
Hmm.
think any fans should. Listen. Yeah, teams beat teams all the time. This is not going to happen. Ohio State is far none the best team in college football. Rutgers is not winning that football game.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would say too, for Rutgers' case is just no injuries, no nothing, no problems like that because I think if you're Shiano, if you had the chance, would you just skip that trip to Columbus and take the 50-0 loss, but no injuries, nothing happens,
Like a
no
forfeit.
fatigue?
Um,
Yeah, I would take that.
y-
I mean, I
yes
know
and
as
no.
a
I would, yes, because like you said, no injuries, nothing. But from a competitor's standpoint, no.
that's what I was gonna say. There's always a chance. You're never completely out. So I get it. I get it. You obviously want it like that. It's never gonna happen because this isn't a video game. But that's the only other positive is you don't get any other injuries heading into Penn State.
Just
Just at least
wave the
hopefully you're
white
full
flag.
strength.
Um,
Yeah, pretty
yeah, I
much.
mean, it'll be interesting. So as of right now, Rutgers is actually in a lot of the major bowl projections. I don't know if you've seen these, Matt, but
Yeah,
it
Detroit.
seems like they will be in if they were in or if they were to make a bowl game. They would be in Detroit the day after Christmas facing a MAC opponent in the I believe it's Game Above Bowl. Yeah, the Game Above Sports Bowl against the MAC opponent. So it could be Miami, could be Ohio. You never know. Rutgers played those teams.
Ooh. Rutgers little Mac reunion
Hey,
after the beginning of the season.
one of these projections on here, I think it was here we go. On three sports. Their projection, the Game Above Bowl, Game Above Sports Bowl, excuse me, versus none other than the Buffalo Bulls. A team that Rutgers is very familiar with, not in basketball, Matt, but actually in women's basketball. Or not in
Oh
football,
God.
but with women's basketball. And yeah, let's jump right into that. Very quickly. Bad.
Good
Bad.
transition.
Bad. Awful. That's all I have to say.
I like the transition. That was smart.
You lose to Stony Brook 71-54. We knew this team wasn't going to be very good. Some players are still have yet to play. Lauren Swan is hurt. Faith Blackstone hasn't played yet. I don't know what to expect from this team. I don't expect much, but do you have anything to add?
I mean that loss right there really just proved the offense. There's no offense on this team. Like, yeah, maybe Nene and Jai have back-to-back games leading the team, but Amani Lester had a rough day. Kayla Ivey as well, 3 of 12 from the floor. Um, Sakara Perkins as well wasn't really. She did not have a good performance. Rutgers, a lot of fouls, not a lot of scoring. The defense was not good at times, so they really need. Even though this team has depth, there definitely is depth. There's no question about that. The problem is you lose your best players, and the depth you have just isn't that good.
No.
Uh, they need Faith Blackstone, they need Lauren Swan. Swan played in the season opener, and she looked pretty solid. Missed her for the Quinnipiac game. Rutgers was able to still mount a comeback in the fourth quarter. This game, never really. They were there. They were down by four, I think, in the third quarter at one point. But fourth quarter, Stony Brook completely ran away with it. And yeah, this. I mean, when you lose to a non-conference game that you're supposed to win, that's already a bad sign. And this just. I don't want to say it wasn't even close because it was close, but it felt like Stony Brook kind of always had it. Had the edge over Rutgers for most of the ball game.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on to men's basketball. Men's basketball starts the season 2-0, takes care of their first two non-conference opponents. Last night took care of Maine
60.
72-60. Thank you. Some promise from that game. Yes, it's a non-conference game, so take it as you will. One thing that redeemed my faith, I'll say, was Dennis Badalou's performance. Because
Oh,
game
he was
one,
lights out.
he was terrible. Game two, guy became second coming of Steph Curry. He was 4 of 8 from beyond the arc, 6 of 11 from the field. Finished with 19 points, which I would like to pat myself on the back. We had a little, friendly pool at the Lou
Hmm.
asking, who would be the highest scorer, and I go, give me Dennis. Sure enough, high scorer with 19. Um, this is
There you
another
go.
team though. I don't know what to make of them yet.
Yeah, it's weird. I think both games so far tell you a little bit of different things. I think the Ryder game, you saw the offense maybe what it could be. I get no it's Ryder, but still, you saw Tyreek Francis have a good game. Dylan Grant looked good. Darren Buchanan off the bench. I've been a really big fan of him off the bench. He looked really, really good off the bench. And like you said, I think the first game was a little disappointing because Dennis Battle out had a tough game shooting wise. And then yeah, he bounces back with it yesterday. And then one thing I will say is though in both games so far, Pikel's been very honest post game about his thoughts with the team. And after the Ryder game, he's like, that was a terrible rebounding job. Yesterday he says better. I think they were plus 14 on the glass, which is better. He said still want to do better though. And then he said he was pleased with the defensive performance. He was really pleased with Dylan Grant. I mean, Dylan Grant as well. First career double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. He he's gonna be huge for the team this year. That's the guy right there. Like he's the glue of this team. Maybe not the leading scorer, but he's the glue of this team. So I think overall, it definitely was an improved performance from the Ryder game, depending on considering the opponent. I mean, better on their boards. Didn't score as much, but it means a little bit better team than Ryder technically. And Yeah, Dennis Badalow finally breaks out, and what else do I want to say? Oh, the turnovers. Rutgers forced Maine into 18 turnovers. They scored, I think, 25 points off that. So I know Rutgers committed like 13 to 12 around there, if I remember correctly, but
Let's
Rutgers
see,
was definitely
14.
14. But the thing is, Rutgers was scoring off the points. They were real in the first half, especially. They were doing a really good job. I think the biggest concern from this game, and it's something that has been a thing for years, is just the free throw shooting. It was that's another thing Michael said.
I
It was
don't
just
get
come
it.
on,
18 of
sloppy.
29 from the line. I'll never forget. This is the best way that anyone's ever explained a free throw. And listen, I'm a sports guy. I grew up watching sports. I'll never forget. I want to say it was either men's or women's high school basketball when I was back in high school.
Hmm.
And my broadcast partner just pretty much bluntly said after a missed free throw, he goes, "They call them free throws for a reason. They're free. They don't cost $1. Make them." It's that simple. I mean, listen, obviously, yes, it's not that simple, but you got to make free throws. In the Big Ten, it's going to come down to whether you can make your free throws.
Hmm.
Realistically, um, you can't keep missing on the front end of one and ones. You can't miss, make one of two and call that a success. I mean, there was so many times. One of the times, what was it? Uh, Battle. How do you say it? Battle.
Then Dennis Badalow.
Battle went to the line. He got fouled in the 3-pointer. He missed two.
He missed all. Yeah, yeah.
You can't do that. I don't know why more teams don't do a hack a manny. Send Emmanuel Ogbole to the line 17 times a game. I mean, I don't know. That is a big problem. A couple other things I want to go through, Matt. I think I agree with you. Dylan Grant is going to be the glue guy of this team. Had a good year last year. You can already see so much improvement from this season. He looks more confident out there, confident shooting the ball, confident in the paint, and he's just so physical when he plays. Jermichael Davis, another one, guy from last year. He's the hustle guy, right? He's the guy that's going to dive for the balls, get the rebounds, get the steals, facilitate for other guys,
I
like
love
what
his
he's
energy.
done.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Ogbole is what he is, not good, not bad, not great, somewhere in the middle. Had a solid game though. 3 or 4 from the field. I think what do you have? He did have 4 fouls, so a little physical. I, we've come to know what he brings to the table. One player I do want to see more of is Haroon Zerno. Hasn't
Hmm.
really gotten a lot of run in his first 2 games. He's only had 11 minutes played, 1 of 2 from the field. His one basket being a 3-pointer, excuse me. 2 or 3 from the line. I would like to see him play a little bit more. You saw Bryce Dortch kind of play that emergency center, if you will. He got in there a little bit.
8 rebounds though is pretty solid.
Yeah,
More than
I mean,
Ogbole.
he only played 12
Consider
minutes
that.
too.
Consider
12 minutes,
that.
8 rebounds.
Yeah, more than
Ogbole had
Ogbole and Ogbole started.
Ogbole had 21 minutes, 5 rebounds.
Yeah, that's kind of proves it right there, I think.
I haven't really seen a lot from Chris Woolley. By fall hasn't done a ton.
Not been impressed with him.
Lino Mark, he's kind of going to be that third guy if you need another ball handler on that second team. But overall, I like the rotations that they've put out there. Tariq Francis has, I don't know, I don't want to sound all negative. I hate being the negative guy, but I've been watching this season more from a perspective of all right, what could be a problem when Big Ten play starts, right? Tariq Francis was great in game 1 because he made his shots. Wasn't as effective in game 2.
Hmm.
About 33% from the field, 2 of 7 from three. But that's kind of the give and take you have to have with a player like Tariq Francis because he's going to put up a lot of shots. And on the days where he makes them, he's going to score 25, 30 points. When he doesn't make them, it could get a little ugly.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting player because obviously he averaged 19 points per game last year for NJIT, but that's NJIT. That's the really big question is will he translate the scoring? Will he bring his shooting boots to Big Ten games? I don't know. I think, Big Ten teams might know how to figure out a way to easily, defend them and everything. Um, I will say something else you mentioned, Ruben Zorno. I do agree. I want to see more of him. If you look at his past 2 games, though, overall 3 of 5 from 3-point range, not bad. He's been making a few threes he's had, but yeah, I think the big question is with this team is one. I think there's two big questions still with this team is one is who will be the leading scorer day in and day out. I think there's you see Dennis have the show it tonight, yesterday. And I think that's how you look at it's probably Tyreek Francis, or maybe even like someone like Darren Buchanan if he gets more minutes and more of a starting role, maybe. And the next question is what's going to happen with center because Agbole hasn't looked great. I know he looked better yesterday, but it was Maine. And then by fall did not look good either. Did not look good at all. I think Bryce George looked pretty decent. I don't know. Will that end up being what Michael does is play George at the five? I don't really know. But I think those are the two questions: is what's going to happen with the center position come December when they play Purdue? That's not looking forward to that one. And who will be the scorer in all these Big Ten games that they're going to need to win when they play weaker Big Ten teams like Penn State or Nebraska? So these non-conference games don't really tell a lot. I mean, they do tell stuff. It's important, but I think once Vegas happens in 2 weeks or whatever, so we'll start to see really where this team is. Playing other decent
Yeah. And
opponents.
and it's going to be a tough stretch, right? You have three non-conference games left in Lehigh, American, and Central Connecticut State before you go to Vegas. Then you have to play the number 20 team in the country in Tennessee, play Notre Dame, who's a good team, and then obviously a third game, which is to be determined. And then you come home, you get, I don't know, 5-ish days off, 6-ish days off. And then, oh, by the way, you got to play the number one team in the country in Purdue. So good luck. And then you go on the road and you play the number 6 team in the country in Michigan. And then after that, you come home and you play your in-state rival, Seton Hall, in the Garden State Classic. Wow.
Yeah.
It comes fast and furious for this Rutgers team. You just kind of hope that Vegas has the opposite effect that it had last year, if that makes sense. Because last year after Vegas, it was a disaster, right? Ended up, what was it? The game after they lost to Kennesaw.
That was before, no? Kind of
Yes,
was before
sorry. So it
Vegas.
was it was a loss to Kennesaw, then a really nice win over Notre Dame, a 5-point loss only to the number 9 team in the country at the time, Alabama,
Alabama.
and then a
Yeah.
4-point loss to a Texas A&M team who was good. Then you get blown out of the water by by Ohio State, and this season kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Got to make sure it doesn't happen this year, right? The expectations are different, the players are different. Do I have hope? Yes, I think this team could be one of those Pikel physical teams. It'll be interesting to see how the defense correlates once Big Ten play starts because, again, you take the non conference games as you will. The pace of play in the Big Ten is going to be a lot different, a lot more physical. Every team's going to have, 3 or 4 guys that are sitting at 6'10, 6'11, 7 foot. So you're going to have your work cut out for you. It's going to be much more physical. And it's really just a war of attrition once you get into Big Ten play.
Yeah. I think the big thing that benefits this team is just that the expectations are low. Last year, there was sky high expectations. When one game went when things started going badly, people started panicking, freaking out, and things got ugly. I think this year, not saying Rutgers is going to expect to go winless in the Big Ten, no, but they're not expected to be, I mean, they're not expecting to be a top Big Ten team. They're probably towards the bottom of the pack. So I think if Rutgers could surprise some people and win some games not supposed to win, play some good teams closely, that's a good year. And like I said before, I think we said last week or something before the season started. I think I said it's just that you get some guys that have a good season to develop them. And I think a guy like Dylan Grant, keep him again, keep developing him. Um, the freshman as well, obviously with the European. So just if you can have a decent year with these players and just build up that and continue developing them over time, this team could definitely be better. But this year is no question about it. It's a rebuild year. You just lost the you know, two best players you might ever get in your program's history, and didn't do anything with them. So it's a rebuild year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think the motto of this year for fans at least is no expectation is the best expectation, right? Because you've seen teams like especially Pike will coach teams in recent history, past 3, 4, 5 years, where they've had no expectation and they've made things happen, right?
Hmm.
Go back to the mentality of the ranked Reapers, the team that you feared going into Jersey Mike's arena, you feared going to play Rutgers at home, not because they were the best team in the world, but because they're a bunch of dogs. They're going to get after it. They're going to make it hard for you. And listen, if they keep it close, there's a chance they come out on top. Last year, that wasn't the mentality, right? Last year, the mentality was, hey, we should be the best because we have two of the best players in the country. Well, yeah, that's great on paper. But in practice, when you have nobody around them, it doesn't work out so well as we came to find out. But I don't know. I think I don't even know. I've said that a lot this episode because there's a lot of unknown, right? I think this will be a solid team. Do I think they'll be in the middle to top of the Big Ten? No. Do I think they can hang around the middle? Maybe. Would I be completely shocked if they were, bottom three in the Big Ten? No. It's yet to be seen, though.
Hmm.
It's still a long season, non-conference play. It's not even over yet, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think I mean another benefit is hey, every team makes a Big Ten tournament. So if they get in there, they can win a game, get a win to get a string of win, then who knows what happens? Maybe they can make a little bit of a run. It's gonna be really hard, but that's the benefit for them is that they're not fighting for a spot in the tournament this year. Like last year where they almost didn't make the tournament, big tournament last year. At least this year, hey, you maybe whatever happens, you'll be playing basketball in March. Not, nationally, but
In the Big
conference
Ten,
wise.
right? Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Matt. If people want to find out what happened in these games, they should definitely tune in to the Rutgers Rundown every Tuesday.
of course.
You can find us, as always, on thedailytargum.com. You can find us on YouTube at The Daily Targum. Make sure to follow us on the socials, The Daily Targum, and what is it, Daily Targum Sports as well, the brand new sports account hitting the
Just
Instagram,
Targum Sports.
Targum Sports on Instagram and Targum Sports on Twitter.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Matt, that's all the time we have for today. Episode 20 of the Rutgers Rundown podcast. Nick Hart, Matt Mangum, thank you guys so much for tuning in as always. We will see you next week.